How much money in your business are your lack of confidence and your lack of influence costing you? That's two things that I want to talk about this morning. How much is your lack of confidence costing you, and how much is your lack of influence costing you? So what I call these are soft skills. Confidence and influence are soft skills. These aren't things that you learn in university. These aren't things that you go to school for. These are things that you either learn growing up or you don't. These are things that if you haven't been taught by somebody who cares about you, you probably won't know much about them. That's okay. I'm going to help you out a little bit with that today, but I want to explain them first. The reason I target these two things is these are the two things that I find more often than anything else get in the way of my clients really skyrocketing. These are the skills that I work on the most with my clients. Number one, let's talk about confidence. First of all, what is confidence? Confidence is simply feeling like you can handle whatever comes your way in a certain situation. So I'll give you a couple of really simple examples. I've used these often before. You at one time, most likely if you're watching this, you know how to walk. Now, a few of you might not. Maybe you're in a wheelchair. Maybe there's something else going on. But or you once could walk, whatever it is. But for most human beings, we know how to walk. And you learned this at some point in time. At some point in time, you did not have this skill. At some point in time, you sucked at walking. You were awful at walking. Maybe you crawled around and you got up and you hit your head on things and you fell over and you were scared of it and it was terrifying to do, but you really wanted to do it. So you kept getting up, you kept working at it. Maybe somebody pushed you a little bit with parents and eventually you learned to walk. Walking is not an easy skill. It's a difficult skill. It takes people a long time to learn. And yet, once you learned it, once you've done it for decades of your life, I'm 41 right now. I've done it for decades of my life. I'm pretty confident in my walking right now. What that means is that if there's a sidewalk that's a little uneven, if there are cracks, if there's a dip, if there's stairs, whatever it is, that doesn't throw me for a loop. I'm confident in my ability to walk. In fact, I can even run. I can even jump and spin in the air. I'm quite confident in my feet because I've learned on my legs, because I've learned how to do these things. I've done them over and over and over again. I've had lots of failures. I've fallen a billion times in my life because of different things that have taken place. But over that time, I've learned, I've grown, I now have confidence in my ability to walk. I'm fairly confident in my ability to speak English. Again, English, it takes people like a decade to learn English. Go to kids that are 5, 6, 7 years old. They still are awful at English. I've got an 8-year-old that still struggles often. I've got a 10-year-old that still struggles every once in a while. It takes a long time to learn any language and be really, really proficient at it. Having said that, I'm fairly confident in my English now. I've spoken it for 40 years, almost 40 years, and I've come to a place where I've used it in so many situations that I'm fairly confident. If somebody asks me a question, I feel confident in answering them in this language. Why? So what is confidence? Again, I'm going to come back to confidence. Confidence is the belief that I've got this. If somebody asks me a question in English, I can answer it in English. I didn't always have this confidence. I didn't always have this ability. I worked hard at it for many, many years. And so much time at the time we forget that there's a lot of failure involved in confidence. How do you grow confidence? How do you grow this soft skill? This is what I'd encourage you to do. Choose an area where you need more confidence. So maybe it's in sales, maybe it's in marketing, maybe it is in presenting yourself, maybe it's in networking, maybe it's in public speaking, whatever it is, whatever is going to grow your business and help yourself. Maybe it's communication, whatever it is. Pick one thing and start practicing. That's it. This is so simple. It's not easy, but it's so simple. The more you speak, the better you're going to get at it, the more confident you're going to get it. The more you sell, the more confident you're going to get in it. I'll give you an example of speaking. So I remember the first time I spoke publicly, and I was terrified. It was in front of maybe 150, 200 people. I was so nervous that English didn't even really come out of my mouth. I was super nervous. And you know that terrifying, horrible sweat that is scared sweat? I was leaking out all over every pore of my body. Okay, I reeked, I'm sure, afterwards. I was about 18, 19 years old at the time. But even though I was terrified at that time, do you know that public speaking is most people's number one fear? It's the biggest fear from the studies that I've read consistently in North America. Having said that, I've spoken hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times in front of groups of large people, groups of small people, one-on-one, whatever it is. I've spoken lots and lots and lots of times. And you know what? Now I'm fairly confident. I still get nerves every once in a while when I speak, but it doesn't get in the way at all. Why? Because I've done it. So this is my first challenge to you. If you want to grow in confidence, what I want to encourage you to do is practice something that you want to get better at. And the more you get better at that thing, the more you fail, the more you grow, the more confident you'll have. And eventually you'll have run into like so many situations that you know you can cover that you will have confidence. Not only that, if you have confidence in one area of life, like let's say some people come to me and say like, okay, Mark, but there's not one area. I lack confidence in every area. That's fine. Learn confidence in one area of your life. And as you improve that, pick a second area. And as you improve that, choose a third area. Once you're confident in 3 or 4 areas, you will have confidence in many areas of your life. Okay. So that's all I'm going to say about confidence here. I wanted to keep it short and simple, but that's basically it. Confidence is the ability to handle whatever comes your way. And the way to do that, so why are people scared of confrontation? Mostly because they don't know how to deal with people. They don't know how to communicate with people. Why are people scared of sales? Because they don't know what people are going to think. They don't know how it'll end up. They're afraid of rejection, whatever it is. When you know you've got this and that it doesn't matter what the result is, you'll be okay. And that you'll do better in whatever you're doing, more sales, more whatever, better business, then that will help you. Let's switch over to influence now. Influence is the ability to help somebody get to where they want to be, and in the process, help yourself. That's all influence is. Now, some people think that people get confused. So influence is not manipulation. Manipulation is where I have a goal for myself and I'm going to use you for my goal. So your opinion, you don't matter. I matter, and I'm going to do whatever it takes. That's manipulation. So think about like, there are certain stereotypes in our culture, like used car salespeople or whatever, where it's not about you. They're not looking for what's best for you. They're looking what's best for them. That's it. They're just about closing the sale. That's terrible sales. That's awful sales. And if you've had some training where it's all about closing and all about pushing people, you've been trained really poorly. If you want better sales training, contact me, okay? And we'll have a conversation. You'll get far more out of it. Having said that, that's manipulation. Influence is the ability to help somebody else get to their goals faster, and in the process, help yourself. And it's both people. Both people are involved. The focus is on the other person, but both people are involved. And this skill is something that has changed my life, and it will change yours in every area. It'll change it with relationships, with intimate partnerships, with kids, with parents, with friends, with sales, customers, clients, bosses, colleagues, whoever it is. Pick a person on this planet and this, or an area really of life, and it will help you. It'll also help you influence yourself, which is the key to motivation. You'll learn what motivates other people, you'll learn what motivates yourself, and you'll be able to get more done. So this actually helps you with procrastination and other areas of life. It's kind of a fix-all. It's the Windex of life, okay? Influence. What is influence? Again, it's not manipulation. What influence is an ability to listen to somebody else, understand what their goals are, even if they don't understand what they are, and then help them get there a little bit faster. I'll give you an example. Manipulation is, I have a goal for my kids and I want them to eat broccoli. So I will challenge them and use manipulation, and I will do whatever it takes to get that broccoli down their throats. Physically, I'll force it down, or I'll use some kind of like emotional manipulation. If you don't do that, if you loved me, you would eat your broccoli. I'll use that. That's manipulation, okay? What influence is what do my kids want? Now, I know for a fact, because I've asked them many times, I've got 10 and 8-year-olds. I know for a fact that my kids love to be strong. They love to grow. They love to be able to play harder and run faster than other kids and use their muscles in really unique ways. They want to play certain sports. They want to do certain things. So what I've told them is this. Now that I know this, I go, hey, listen, what are your goals? And they tell me they want to run faster, be stronger, whatever. I say, hey, listen. Typically, the people who are healthiest, I don't lie to them, okay? I say typically the people who are healthiest have a well-rounded diet. They eat lots of things. They have protein and they have fats and they've got different minerals and vitamins and they've got vegetables that they eat and carbohydrates that they eat. And all these things give us different things. And I'll teach them about that with the focus of helping them. Because what they want is to be stronger. They want to be faster. They want to grow taller and get bigger. So I say, this will help you. If you eat protein and fat, that's important, but you also need minerals and vitamins, and you get a ton of that from vegetables. So how can we find a way so that you can get enough minerals and vitamins in your system in a way that works for you too? So one of my kids doesn't like cooked vegetables. One of my kids doesn't like raw vegetables. So what we do is we make sure it works for them. And as it works for them, and they've got an understanding of how this is going to be helping them, they are happy to eat their vegetables. My kids actually are quite happy with eating almost everything we put in front of them. Every once in a while, they don't want it. But usually, even if they don't want it, they eat it because they see the value of it. That's influence. I'm getting what I want. I've got strong, healthy kids, and they're getting what they want. Now, here's something with influence that you've got to be very careful with. It is not simply about the other person. Nothing is ever only about another person. People talk about altruism and like just do things for other people, give things to other people, especially this time of year, right? Give to other people with nothing that you're going to get in return. That does not exist in our world. Everything we do for somebody else is going to help us in some way and needs to help us in some way. People say, oh, but I give and I didn't even tell anybody that I gave something. Okay, so what does that get? Why did you do it? Well, I feel good when I. Okay, so it's giving you something as well. Anytime we're helping other people, anytime we're giving to other people, it needs to help us as well. And we need to understand that, because people who are giving and don't receive anything in return become bitter people that hold it against others, that they're not getting anything back. This is the social worker syndrome, right? We expect social workers to give everything of their lives to others and take nothing in return for it. And then we wonder why social workers burn out. That's our fault. That's our culture's fault in many ways, okay? So get it out of your head that you can't receive something. You should receive something when you give something to somebody else. Now let's talk. I was talking about my kids. Let's talk about in the business realm. How can you become more influential? And here is the number one key to becoming more influential. Now I could unpack this for hours or even days. But the number one key to becoming more influential is asking better questions. Instead of asking foolish questions, so questions that require one-word answers that don't give you any information and lead somebody down a certain path. So for example, when you ask somebody, what's your favorite color? They might not even have a favorite color, but you're pigeonholing them. And they don't feel heard right now, okay? If you ask somebody, were you born stupid or did you just simply grow up that way? That's an awful question, right? It's putting someone in an awful spot. But there are great questions. A great question specifically in a sales conversation is, hey, so what brought you here? How do you find yourself in this store? How do you find yourself in this conversation with me? What brought you here? Let them explain from their perspective. And then once they tell you something, get to know them better. If you get to know somebody better, if you truly understand that person, how do you think they feel right now? I know that in my lifetime, very few people have made the effort to truly understand who I am. But those people who have, I am willing to do anything for. I am extremely loyal to those people. Why? Because they took the time to get to know me, something that very few people do. And the cool thing is that you can actually get to know somebody fairly quickly. My background is psychology. I used to do this for a living, right? Just get to know people. And it's not a difficult thing. You can do this in a few minutes. You can get to know somebody and their needs. Now, again, if you're selling a TV in a box store, you don't necessarily need to know everyone's life story, right? Having said that, there's no better way for them to trust you and to get to know why they want to buy this thing than to ask them a few more questions. Ask them personal questions. Ask people personal questions. Feel free to ask them, okay? If somebody comes in and wants to buy a TV, ask them, so why a TV? Why not something else? Why TV? Why right now? Why not some other time? And you will discover that they have certain desires or needs. And as you get to know those things, you can then remind them of those things if they get cold feet at certain times, because everyone at some point in time gets cold feet about purchases. And what your job as a salesperson, as a business owner is to do is to listen carefully, listen well to people, understand what drives them, what they desire, what they want in life. And then if they're struggling with the decision a little bit and going, I'm not sure if now is the right time. And you know that if they don't do this, this is going to have an impact on them. Now, TV might not be a great example of this, right? But even with a TV, let's use this as an example. If you know that for this person, what matters most is how people view them. Again, you're not a therapist right now. You're not trying to change this if you don't believe it's best. But what you do is you listen to them and you see they care so much about what other people think. And then later on, they're like, I'm not sure if I need the 52-inch. I could maybe deal with the 44-inch or whatever. So it's a different size. What you can then say is, hey, listen, when people come over the holiday season, when people come over at Easter, when people come over for Valentine's Day, when people come over for the weekend, when people come over for whatever it is, right? Choose a time. And they're watching the small TV, that's the same as everyone else's TV. It's not going to be a big deal, right? But can you imagine what it will feel like to have people over, how much they're going to enjoy coming over, how much they're going to talk about your place when you've got the biggest screen in town? When you've got something that they go, everything is better. Sports are better. The drama, the movie, whatever it is, everything is better on this television. It's fantastic. Can you imagine what that's going to feel like? And that will help them make the decision that's in their best interest, if that's what they want. Now, here's the thing with influence. Your job is not to judge everyone and tell everyone else what to think. Your job is not to judge everyone and force them into certain ways of thinking or being. If you don't believe something is good, or if you believe something else is good, that's not your job. Your job is to get to know somebody, get to know their needs and wants, and then help them towards those. Now, there's an aspect of integrity with this is very important with influence. And this will help you so much with influence. If somebody truly believes that you have their best interest in mind, they will buy far more from you, and they will tell more of their friends about you. So, for example, I've had sales where people have spent tens of thousands of dollars, thousands or tens of thousands of dollars on coaching or whatever it is, not because the person that told them about me actually bought something from me. Sometimes it's been because somebody has said, Mark helped me. I had a conversation for 45 minutes. He gave me his time. And at the end of that time, he actually told me, this isn't the best fit. It's actually better for my needs to go to a different coach. And you know what? I got a lot out of that other coach, but I think Mark is fantastic. Go to him. He suits your needs. That's given me a ton of money. It's things that I want. Okay, to grow my business and to help people through the process by helping others. So I also will tell people, if I don't believe something is going to help them, I will tell them, this isn't going to help you. This isn't what you need. Try this first. I told somebody just a few weeks ago, hey, listen, they desperately wanted my coaching. They said, come on, please. And I said, no, I won't do it because they're not going to have the results that they want from my coaching. So I said, here, try these other things instead. And I can live with myself in that case, okay? I will have a hard time sleeping and living with myself if I'm forcing stuff, product, service on people, and they don't need it or want it, or it's not going to help them in the long term. That's something I have a hard time dealing with. So ask yourself right now, I'm going to go back to what I said right at the beginning. How much money are confidence and influence costing you? How much is it costing you because you don't ask people questions, because you lack the confidence? Or because you lack the skills of asking really good questions, getting to know somebody, listening to them carefully, and then making sure that you're matching what they want and desire with something you can do for them. How much is that costing you? Most people, it's costing hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in lost sales, in lost opportunities. So much of the time, simply having a little more confidence, asking that extra question, going out and meeting the person. If you think this person would be amazing for my business and this would be good for them, how about I connect with them and we can help each other? Lacking that confidence costs you money every day. It costs you relationship, costs you a whole bunch of other things in life, but it costs you business, it costs you money. And same thing with influence. Influence is costing you a crazy amount of money on a daily basis, because you're not influencing people. Sometimes maybe you're manipulating some people. You simply lack the confidence in influence that you don't try it. That's costing you money. It's costing you money, but it's also taking away your service or product from people who desperately do want it or need it. That's stealing from others. So my challenge for you today, then this week in the Facebook Live here, is make sure that you are growing your confidence. Make sure that you're growing your influence. And in the process, what you will do is you will be far more fulfilled. You'll be far more satisfied with what you're doing every day. And you will be helping far more people. Enjoy your week. Enjoy this holiday week.